Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And we're back with our ongoing series, Pots and Shots. And today we're going to be talking about in taking in the copper sunset, what businesses need to know now. So Jake Jacoby is with me from TelCloud. Jake, welcome back.
Good to see you, Doug. Thanks. Glad to be back.
Well, let's dive right into it. Jake, copper shutdowns have been discussed for years now, and certainly we've been discussing it in this theory in this series. They are finally hitting. That's really happening. What's driving this accelerating phase out, and what does it mean for businesses still dependent on legacy lines?
Yeah, so I think we originally started talking about it in 2016, where the carriers wanted to get out of the business. Again, we've talked about this in the past, but to bring everybody up to speed, everything used to be copper, right? All the phone lines used to be copper, and so 100% of the infrastructure was that, and so spending the money and maintaining that copper made sense. Well, over the last 10, 20 years, most of everything, let's say call it 90%, has moved to voice over IP or cell phones like this little guy here, right? So most of us, we're all using this. We're not, we don't have a home phone line anymore. So what that's done is it's transitioned on the carrier side, where now only 5 to 10% of that infrastructure is being used. However, they still need to maintain it. So the cost of maintaining that is very high, and the revenue they generate from it is very low, right? Only 5 to 10%. So because it was a utility and it was regulated, the carriers went to the FCC and said, look, we need to change this. We need to get out of this business. We need a path. And so in 2019, we talked about that. 2019, it was deregulated, which allowed the carriers to increase the price, right? And then eventually have a path for shutdown. Well, we all know what happened in like 2020. We had COVID, and so everything was paused, right? Even though we were supposed to shut down, it was all paused. And they said, okay, no shutting down, but everything was still deregulated at that point, so the carriers could charge whatever they want. So prices went higher and higher. So to bring you to your question today, Doug, is that the pressures in the marketplace are, one, astronomical prices for these lines of service. Carriers are trying to cover their cost, and then ultimately shut down of the services, because even it doesn't matter how much a carrier charges, if they're charging way more, if they're charging a lot for a few number of lines and that revenue doesn't offset the cost of maintaining the infrastructure, it doesn't make financial sense for them to keep that open. So they shut it down. So those are the two pressures that are happening. So as a customer, right, what you're seeing is you're seeing very high prices on your bill, but maybe you're okay with that. I haven't had to address my phone lines for the last 20 years, and I don't really want to get into it now. I maybe don't even know what I have, and my bill goes higher and higher. Okay, maybe you're dealing with that. There's a pressure there. Sometimes those bills get way too high, and you do want to, take care of that and save some money. But what's ultimately going to happen is they're just going to shut them down. So it doesn't matter how much they're charging. At a certain point, that service is going to go away. That has a direct effect on your business because these are life safety lines. So what we've been talking about in this industry is like POTS line replacement, how to get ahead of it, how to address this, how to do it in a systematic way, and really, future proof a solution. So if you're going to go through this process of changing your phone lines and using new technology, let's pick some technology that's going to work for the next 20 years, right? So that we're not in this boat again in 3 to 5 years and saying, okay, I picked a box that worked for me for a couple of years, and now I got to go through this process again. So that's the industry that we're in. That's what TelCloud solves. We solve that problem, and we do it through our technology alliances, partners, and resellers that go and bring this solution to the end customers. That makes sense?
Yeah, and Jake, the experiences you're mentioning, the sort of like, I don't know what's out there. It's like, if I ignore it, maybe it'll go away. I don't know why my
Right.
bill's going up. When we're talking here, everybody, about people that are not in telecom, which is a lot of people that, telecom is just amongst the many invoices that they pay. It's just off to the side somewhere. And all of a sudden, this is getting their attention. Is that what I'm saying? Is that matching up with what you're actually seeing in the field?
It is, and normally it's just a telco, phone utility line
Yep.
item, on your
Routine.
P&L, right?
Yeah.
So, but now that's crept up, and where maybe it was, $50 before, now it's hundreds or thousands of dollars, and so that line item gets bigger and bigger, and so now your controllers realizing that, your CFOs saying, hey, what's going on here? Why are we spending all this money? And so it needs to be addressed. Now, addressing that is, the other issue. Depends on, are you a single location or you have thousands of locations, right? And so just picking a partner that can help you with that can help you kind of go in and do this, because it's not something you've done you've never done this before, right? If you haven't transitioned your copper, right, you're just paying the bill, right? You never had to think about it. So now you have to think about it. And so what you really want to do is do the research, pick a technology partner that's going to solve this for you so that you can check that box, bring that cost and that line item down again to a reasonable number that you can count on, and have a technology that you can use for the next 20 years.
Okay, let's do a scenario then as we close up our podcast today. This part of it, anyways. I'm
Yep.
an MSP, and I normally don't deal with telecom. It's something I just don't deal with at all. But I'm kind of
Mhm.
aware that my client does have a problem here.
Yep.
And it sounds like this might be an opportunity for me, also maybe a trust opportunity. But like I said, I normally don't want to deal with it. So is there a
Yep.
way to deal with this without having to actually deal with it and succeed with it?
100%. So, and that's what TelCloud does, right? We don't sell direct. We are a channel focused organization, and we help that channel in many different ways. We've got some partners that are telco people, right? That's not who you were just describing. They know telco inside and out. They can do everything. They're doing phone lines, and they can use our platform to deliver POTS lines. We've got what you were talking about, these MSPs that have great relationships with their customers. They're the trusted advisor. The customer is probably coming in and saying, I've got this problem. How can you help me? Right. And it's not their core business, but they can leverage TelCloud, and we do the work for them. Right. We partner with them. It's their brand. That relationship is very important. It has to be. So when this MSP can come to TelCloud, engage with our solution, TelCloud will do the work and do it under a white label brand so that MSP maintains that relationship with the customer. They do the billing. We can, whatever piece they need, TelCloud can be behind. If it's the full thing or it's just a part of it, that we're that solution for that trusted advisor to bring the ultimate solution to the customer.
All right,
That makes
Jake.
sense. Yeah.
Now the fun part.
The
We're
fun
doing
part.
thoughts and shots. So now we get to the shots part. If you haven't watched our series before, watch the rest of them too, because this is the fun part. We are on a tour of the world's best tequilas. So, Jake, what do you have for us today?
As you can see, we've got quite a collection going on
Oh my
here. We've
goodness, yes,
done
yeah.
quite a
Look at
few.
that.
So, I love that we're doing this. And so the one that I picked out today, as you know, and if you've seen any of the others, I obviously love tequila. I'm very much a Reposado fan. Again, we talked about tequilas going from Blanco, the Reposado, the Añejo, and Extra Añejo. So this one is called Cascanes. It's tequila. It's a number 7. It's called, see it here. It's a
Wow.
very smooth. It's a beautiful bottle. Again, just unique from Jalisco. A Reposado, very smooth. Sipping tequila. It's a little difficult to find, but if you can Google it, it'll come up on Google. You can buy it online, or check your local liquor store and see if they might have it or can get it for you. But highly recommend it. Very smooth. And yeah, definitely try this one out. It's another great Reposado that you should add to your collection.
Now, if for people who have not looked at this, so sometimes we have tequilas which are dark, sometimes they are totally clear.
That's
This
right.
is sort of very interesting gold color.
Yeah. So again, the aging, every tequila starts out as a blanco or a clear, right? And then what they do is they age it. And depending on how they age it, they
Oh,
typically age it in an oak barrel. So that oak, so just like you would have a Chardonnay and a wine and you put in an oak barrel versus a steel barrel, right? It pulls in some of that, the flavor from the wood, the oak, right? Sometimes they use it. We'll talk in a couple episodes about a charred barrel and what that does to it. But
Right.
when it's rested, so reposado means rested, which could be anywhere from 6 months to a year. And so it's pulling in. This was originally clear, and it pulls in that oakiness and that sometimes vanilla notes or cedar notes, things like that. But it brings it into the tequila, and then it makes it. I like it because it kind of smooths it out, right? Sometimes blancos have a little bit more of a bite. I like that as well, but it just kind of depends on what mood you're in. But it's reposados are typically my favorite. So definitely try this one out.
Well, Jake, I really want to thank you for joining me today. This has been very interesting. For people that have not watched these before, I want to urge you to come to our website and look at the pots and shots. We have a huge collection now of these. We're talking about is the most important transition that's happened in over 100 years. But it's also a great opportunity to gain the trust of clients and to create a very sticky solution. And TelCloud's got it all pulled together for you. Jake, where can we learn more about TelCloud?
Yeah, hit us up at telcloud.com or 844-900-2270. We've got a great team. We love to partner, and we'll help you whether you need a little bit of help on just the technology side or you need us to do the whole thing. We're here to partner with you and bring the best solution to your customers so that you can create a great recurring revenue stream for your organization for many years to come.
Jake, I'll see you next time on Pots and Shots.
See you next time, Doug.